Hello, hello. This is the My Artifact episode number 3932. Today's date is sorry. Okay. Today's date is March 10, 2026. It's been almost like a morning at 9:15 a.m. All right, let's just jump into the question. Let's go. All right. The question is, if I already had my desired identity, what action or habit would I consistently practice every day? That's a really good question. Okay. First of all, what exactly is this question and why am I asking this question to myself? This is like a couple of days ago, I read a book, Atomic Habit, and it's a really good book. Highly recommend to you to read that book. So basically, it's this thing that when I read this book, I realized that I should supposed to be implement the value that book taught me. How do I supposed to do that? While asking question to myself. So I went to ChatGPT, said that I read this book. I wanted to implement the value that book taught me. Suggest me 20 question. So this is one of those question. By the way, all those questions are actually in the mobile phone. I can't do this while recording, so that's why I wrote question in here. Okay. By the way, this book I'm reading right now, How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie. Really good book. Okay, so the question is that the question is actually kind of like a telling is that if I already achieve my success, okay, then what kind of like a habit or action do I do every single day to consistency to be maintain my success and things like that. Now, basically, it's this thing that why? Okay, the question is actually why. Like, if you already achieve the success, why should you supposed to be kind of like a do the hard work? Okay, like I'm actually asking this question to myself. Let's just say that I achieve all the dreams that I wanted to be. Okay, yeah. So after I achieve my dream, should I kind of like read the book? Should I record the artifact? Should I like basically do the kind of like things that I'm kind of like doing? Okay, like running and things and that and that. Like it doesn't really require, na. Like basically, it's this thing I do run every single day. I do read my books every single day. I do record my artifact every single day. There are so many kind of like a stuff that I'm doing every single day to achieve my success. And after achieving my success, may I able to do that thing or not? And most of the people are say that yeah, you have to do this thing, you have to kind of like after you achieve everything, you have to do this thing, that and that. But when reality actually happened, people don't. And I have lot of example and lot of people. Okay, yeah. And by the way, you have actually seen those people too. Okay, yeah. Like I'm gonna tell you my experience. Okay, yeah. One of my friend who is really good at studying, really good at kind of like simply understanding the everything. He got a job. He got a government job, and since he get the government job, he just not doing study. He just not reading books. He just not being that particular person that I used to be. Like I really admire his quality, like the way that he just kind of like a smart. I always wanted to like him, but I am not because my brain is not really that good. Okay, but he is very smart, sharp, good. But after he got a job, he just became, I don't know, just very different person. I'm actually kind of like a telling you from my point of perspective is this thing in here in my surrounding in today's point of perspective. Most of my friends are kind of like a doing kind of like a try to achieve the government job. Okay, yeah. Now achieving government job is a kind of like a far more difficult in India because the competition is very high and things and that and that. Okay, yeah. So for that particular purpose, all the people that I know, they are isolate themselves from everything. No social media, no WhatsApp, no nothing really at all. They just kind of like study, which is good. Like, which is good. Yeah, it's not really bad. It's really good. But the problem is that na ki soon as they kind of like land their job, they just forget everything, and they spend so much amount of time on social media. They sharing memes and things and that, and I was like a very much like I knew this particular person who says, legitly says that ki, dude, I will not gonna use any social media. Why? Because I am kind of like a study for a government job and I will not gonna do anything at all. And after he got that job, he just opened the Instagram, sharing the memes and things, and spend almost like a whatever the time that he has, he just spent on mobile phone. And I was like, dude, you are the kind of like a particular person that I was actually inspired. Okay, let me tell you one thing. I am not kind of like a quitting social media and things like that. I minimize it. Okay, yeah. I make sure that my exposure should supposed to be have less. I didn't really stop myself. I access Instagram through Chrome browser, very less amount of time. Okay, yeah, I utilize my social media, YouTube for productivity, getting information and things and that and that. Okay, yeah, and they do the same thing too. But since they land the job, they just change everything. They just kind of like consider themselves they are free, and they are kind of like somebody doing things that I don't know. Okay, yeah. The person that I was kind of like a really admire, like, should I name? I shouldn't supposed to be. Okay, let's just kind of like a give the name. Let him knows that okay, I would kind of like a think like that. Okay, yeah. Um, one of my friend named Vishal, he's a very smart person, like legitimately smart. His brain, his things, the way that he do, by God, like literally, just like he's just legit smart. But since he got a job, I know he has a responsibility. He's got married, he has a two kids and things and that and that. And because of kind of like a fulfilling the responsibility, he doesn't really have any times to kind of like a do the things and that and that. He is the particular person who kind of like a drop the social media. I never really seen on Instagram like for a decade, like never really at all. Couple of days ago, he kind of like a simply have social media Instagram profile, and I was like confused. Like, first of all, is this Vishal or somewhere else? Then I re-verify. No, he's that particular person. I was like, dude, you open the Instagram? Yeah, I actually opened the Instagram. Like, there is no wrong to open the Instagram, but I was not really expecting that. Uh, Also, one of my friend named Vaibhav, he is also kind of like a very like a do lot of study and things and that. He sacrificed a lot of stuff. Social media is one of them mostly. Okay, yeah. After he got a job, he is also like a same story. Okay, yeah. Also, one of my friend named Rahul. I'm deliberately kind of like a saying their name because I want that they should supposed to be know that thing that I mentioned their name and things and that because like I just wanted to know why did you do this thing. Let me tell you one thing regarding about Rahul. Rahul is the same particular person. He's kind of like a somebody police officer right now at the moment. Okay, government job, and he sacrificed a lot of stuff. He like most of people uninstall Instagram and things and that. He uninstall WhatsApp too. Just nothing really at all. Just a regular call and that's it. He sacrificed a lot, and I'm really proud of that. He sacrificed so many stuff. But since he got a job, he just became very different person. Like I don't know how to I supposed to explain. Different person means what? Like did he like is his smartness shrink? Okay, I'm gonna tell you my experience, and I'm not really sure what is that is this thing. I'm gonna mention vividly the name. Okay, yeah. My friend named Vishal, who is a really smart. Okay, yeah, as I already mentioned, he's a really smart, and he has a really good taste of music. Okay, yeah. And I kind of like somebody like basically absorb this thing that people who are really smart. Okay, yeah, their music taste is really good. The way that they listen the music is really good. Okay, yeah, and he was one of that particular person. Okay, yeah, because of him I listen some of the really good amazing music that I just never really heard of it, like 5 hour, this is a kind of like EDM music. Okay, yeah, Vishal kind of like a somebody listen and I love it. Okay, yeah, there are so many tracks that Vishal discovered, music tracks that like boom, like literally just like crazy. Okay, yeah, and I was really admire of his music taste, like literally just like I really admire his music taste, like the way that this particular person play the song, it definitely really good, definitely really good. Couple of year ago we went to trek. Okay, yeah, he got a job, he married, he has a 2 kids and things and that. Okay, yeah, so he got a job, and then we all the boys are kind of like a create a plan that we should supposed to be go to the trek and things like that. So yeah, now while trekking, basically is this thing that we should supposed to play the music and things and that. So we are kind of like playing the music and things. Now Vishal is a kind of like a really particular person who is always been a music, and he has a really good taste of music. So he decided to play the music. So he started playing the music. I was expecting a kind of like a music that kind of like somebody is just saying amazing, mind blowing and things and that. He played Bhojpuri song. I was like, what? Like I'm not kind of like a comparison that he's a kind of like a some particular person kind of like a listening really good music and right now he shifted to Bhojpuri song. Like I'm not kind of like comparing that Bhojpuri song is kind of like a little less than that, but like this kind of like a transformation, I like I was not really expecting that. Okay, I was not really expecting that. So the question is actually say this thing that does people get a job after that, does their smartness shrink? I'm not really sure, but am I judging too much? Like I'm try to understand things and that. I am not a kind of like a particular person that should supposed to be judge the people and things and that. Okay, yeah, by the way is this thing, there are multiple factors might be involved in that particular thing. We are kind of like a trekking and things and that, sometime kind of like a playing EDM song, and in that particular moment might not be good. So kind of like such a song that kind of like somebody that most of people kind of like a resonate. Bhojpuri song is one of the song that most of people are kind of like a dance and things and funny and things like that. It does not represent that the way that he listen the song and things like that. So I understand things and that. Okay, yeah, but I don't know, dude. Okay, there are kind of like a very small things that I was really admire him because of he was kind of like that particular person. After he got a job, he is not that particular person. I don't know how to supposed to explain this thing, but yeah, that is true. And I do understand that this particular person kind of like a went through very like a lot of things, like when you are kind of like a have a job, married, have a 2 kids, you have a lot of pressure and things and that I completely truly understand and things like that. But it doesn't really make him kind of like a something improving, and that's the kind of like something one of the biggest thing that I've seen in my surrounding, that most of people are just not improving themselves after they got a job. They think that after they got a job, they just kind of like somebody relax and free and freedom. Also, I'm kind of like a telling you from Indian point of perspective. I'm not really sure about US and Europe. Okay, yeah. Okay, another story. Okay, yeah. I live in India, and cracking the government job is a very difficult. Okay, yeah. Now government job is a kind of like a thing, but when you are kind of like a aiming for UPSC, UPSC is one of the toughest exam in the world. Okay, literally like a second toughest exam in the world. Okay, yeah. Now people are putting so much effort to crack the UPSC. So much effort, like literally just like that. I can't really tell you is this thing that key. They just put lot of effort to cracking the UPSC exam. And after they crack the UPSC exam, they started doing corruption. I was like, what the fuck is this thing, dude? Okay, yeah. Like, like not everyone, but some of the people. I seen lot of kind of like some example of the kind of like a UPSC IAS officer who kind of like did something corruption, did something not right. Like corruption is kind of like a very big word, but in some certain context that is true. So the effort that you put to become IAS officer, and after you became the IAS officer, you just became stupid. Like it's a kind of like a thing that na ki I don't know how I'm supposed to explain. People are more focused on becoming IAS officer, but they are not really focused on what they will gonna become, what they will kind of like do after they became the IAS officer. IAS officer is a very big post. You are the responsible for entire district. Your decision kind of like a shape the city as much as good as possible. Most of people actually focus on that ki I would become the IAS officer, my life is good. I will not gonna kind of like a kicked off from the go job and things and that and that and that. That's it. But they never really kind of like something understand that ki they are holding such a responsibility. They are kind of like do something really right. I'm not saying that ki IAS officer are not doing their job. They are doing their job. But is that thing that the amount of qualities that they power that they hold, like I don't know how to supposed to explain. It's a kind of like a thing that na ki you train yourself for singing competition so much, and you are kind of like a singing so well, so good, so amazing. You perform really good, and you judge kind of like give you 10 out of 10, and you became singer. And after you became singer, you just stay at home and not doing anything at all. It's just like, what? Okay, yeah, like if you are a singer, you put yourself in that particular torturous situation, why not you kind of like somebody explore yourself even more, much more better? You are the IAS officer, you have a power to shape the entire city in much more good way, and you have that quality. You know that how should supposed to be make the road, you know how should you supposed to be make the kind of like a simply the like a nali waste management system and things and that. You know how should you supposed to kind of like a prevent the crowd or kind of like a simply maintaining the crowd and things like that. You know how should you supposed to be import and export, and you know everything regarding about things, because UPSC kind of like a simply select such a person who has that kind of like a qualities. Okay, but when you have that quality, and when you have a kind of like a time to utilize that quality, you are not utilizing it. You're just following the protocol. Like, okay, we have an order, follow this order and things like that. Obviously, I was not exactly right in that particular sentence because of that key. It's not really that key they don't really wanted to do. They obviously wanted to do, but they have kind of like a restriction, so that too. That is true about something. And that's what I kind of like somebody like I don't know how to I supposed to explain. That's what I kind of like somebody realized, that most of people are not kind of like a improve themselves throughout the life. They think that कि Sorry about the disturbance. Actually, my mother is. So, what should I supposed to say about this thing? Well, one thing is that ki, one thing I realize that ki people are not improve when they have started earning money. They stop themselves improving when they see the money. Now I have to be asked this question to myself that ki, will I become that particular person? Like sooner or later I will gonna earn money. So basically after I earn money, should I stop improving myself? Well, this is what kind of like a things that I understand myself. If I stop, I would broke, I would worthless. And another thing is that ki I design my life in a such a way that I shouldn't supposed to be consider myself a settle, or I shouldn't supposed to be consider myself as a kind of like a thing that ki adding a full stop that ki okay, this is it, that's it, and kind of like a simply that ki okay, like I achieve my target. I set up my life in a such a way that multiples of level, each level has a kind of like a goal that I have to be achieved. Level 1 became a YouTuber. Level 2 became a kind of like a something a businessman who launched his application. Okay, artifact. Okay, yeah. Level 3, I want to become a education minister. I'm not really sure am I became or not, or am I worthy enough to consider myself. But throughout the entire life, I seen a lot of problem. I got all the information, all the knowledge from kind of like a self-made and things and that. Education, there is a lot of kind of like I belong to the India, and in here education is really not that good. It's not kind of like a problem about the education like a teacher or not. No, it's a system problem. Okay, yeah. In our education system, specifically in India, usually rewarded for the people who put the so much amount of effort. But that is a completely wrong. If you wanted to become better person, consistency is a matter, not effort. Okay, yeah. If the particular person put the consistency, that particular person kind of like a get growth and things like that. But our education system never really rewarded the people who are doing consistent. It's only kind of like a rewarded to such a people who are just kind of like a how much you put the effort. And that is wrong, because when you put the effort, obviously you want it to be relaxed. And when you want it to be relaxed, you just stop yourself. It's a kind of like a some intensity. You just kind of like a pushing yourself like a run too much for like a basically for 30-minute kind of like a sprint run. And after you sprint run, you cannot able to be walk. This is what exactly is it now. Okay, yeah. But if you jog, then you might gonna jog for at least like a 2, 3, 4 hour. Why? Because it's a consistency. You are not putting that much amount of effort. And that's what I think. A sprinter might gonna kind of like a sprint for at least like a maybe 2, 3 or maybe 5 kilometer. But a jogger can able to be go for 40 to 50 kilometer. That's the kind of like a difference between intensity and consistency. My education system or Indian education system are actually kind of like a somebody rewarded intensity. That's why most of people are kind of like a run for only 5 kilometer and they just stop themselves. I don't know, am I capable enough to kind of like a change that system or not? But I have this goal and I will try my best to I could do this thing. This is my level 3. And I have level 4 too. But soon I think that level 4 is a kind of like a way much big thing. Okay, yeah. Probably is this thing that I might not able to be achieved, but okay, let's just say that thing. What is actually my level 4? My level 4 is that there are so much amount of plastic are actually exist on the ocean. I wanted to clean that up. I know it's a very big thing. I am really not really sure that will I able to be became or that, because if I'm saying this thing, I wanted to clean up the plastic from ocean, from all around the planet, it's not easy. Okay, yeah, first of all, it's like how do I supposed to get the permission, how do I supposed to do that, how do I supposed to do this and that and that. I'm not really sure. But because of kind of like having this goal or saying this goal in Artifact, it's kind of like somebody make me that ki okay, I have to be do this thing. Like I don't know how I supposed to explain. It's a kind of like a thing that na ki when you are try to achieve such a goal which is kind of like a far much more beyond your limit, then you are kind of like a pushing yourself too much, and that's the only thing that kind of like a simply help them to kind of like a improve themselves even more, much more better. Okay, yeah, like set a kind of like a some stages of goals that after you achieve what kind of like a goal that you achieve. Most of people have a kind of like a one goal, get a job, and that's it. And that's why most of people are kind of like a get a job and they just became that's it. I think that na ki the question is that ki after I achieve my success, will I able to improve? Well, I think that na ki I will not gonna achieve my success for entire bit of lifetime. For me, success is the kind of like a things that I wanted to do. And obviously, is this thing I always have things that I wanted to do. So my success is never really achieved, even after I put the entire bit of lifetime. So how do I supposed to stop improving myself? And that's the kind of like a real funda. I think that if you wanted to kind of like a simply improve yourself, don't think that you achieve your success. I think that's the goal probably. I don't know. All right, this is it. And thank you.